Welcome to Millennium Daily News. This is Ifat Fatima with top stories. Trump takes campaign-style CPAC victory lap. Trump wants to make sure U.S. nuclear arsenal at top of the pack. IS car bombing kills 35 people in Syria. 8th anniversary of BDR carnage. UN experts urge Bangladesh to stop enforced disappearances. And OKF stars as Australia push India on back foot. Those were the headlines, now the detail. President Donald Trump described an administration operating at full throttle during a valedictory, vowing to uphold his campaign promises to a right-wing crowd of activists that once viewed him skeptically. He also escalated his attacks on the press, pitting the news media against conservative values and suggesting he was going to take action soon to end what he described as a surge of fake news. Speaking at the Conservative Political Action Conference, Trump vowed an economic revival spurred by new jobs and scaled-back regulation. He insisted that his most prominent agenda items would be realized in short order, and he characterized in nationalist terms the America First theme of his presidency. Trump's comments in a pair of Twitter posts come amid media reports that the FBI has refused a White House request that it refutes recent stories saying members of Trump's team had been in frequent contact with Russian intelligence agents during the presidential campaign. Reuters has not verified the reports. The Federal Bureau of Investigation, the nation's top law enforcement agency, did not answer a request for comment on Trump's tweets. The FBI is totally unable to stop the national security leakers that have permeated our government for a long time. They can't even find the leakers within the FBI itself. Classified information is being given to media that could have a devastating effect on US. Find now, Trump wrote. The news reports by CNN and the Associated Press said White House Chief of Staff Reince Priebus asked Andrew McCabe, the FBI Deputy Director, to deny media reports that said Trump campaign advisors had been in frequent contact with the Russians. President Donald Trump said he wants to ensure the U.S. nuclear arsenal is at the top of the pack, saying the United States has fallen behind in its weapons capacity. In a Reuters interview, Trump also said China could solve the national security challenge posed by North Korea very easily if they want to, rashing up pressure on Beijing to exert more influence to rein in Pyongyang's increasingly bellicose actions. Trump also expressed support for the European Union as a governing body, saying, "I'm totally in favor of it," and for the first time as president expressed a preference for a two-state solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, but said he would be satisfied with whatever makes the two sides happy. Turkey's news agency says a car bomb north of a town just captured by Turkish forces and Syrian opposition fighters from Islamic State militants has killed at least 35 people. Anadolu news agency says the explosion on Friday killed civilians and Syrian opposition fighters in Souzian village north of the town of Al-Bab. The Britain-based Syrian Observatory for Human Rights says the bombing struck near a security post in the village. The Syrian opposition-run Qassim news agency put the death toll at 45. The report says the car bomb hit outside a security office where civilians had gathered seeking permission to return to Al-Bab. The FBI rejected a recent request by the White House to dispute media reports that Trump campaign officials had regular contacts with Russian intelligence officials before the election. The revelation comes days after White House Chief of Staff Reince Priebus said during a weekend television interview that senior intelligence officials assured him that there were not significant contacts between Trump advisors and Russian agents. Priebus said on NBC's Meet the Press Sunday that a story in the New York Times about alleged connections was total baloney. citing multiple U.S. officials briefed on the matter that the FBI declined to publicly corroborate Priebus despite a rare request from the White House to do so. The New York Times and CNN touched with Russian intel officials during the campaign. Closely supported by the US-led international coalition, Iraqi forces secured a series of cautious advances, pushing into a sprawling military base outside of Mosul and onto the grounds of the city's airport, where they took control of the runway. The three-pronged attack began just after sunrise, with three convoys of Iraqi forces snacking north across Nevin's hilly desert on Mosul's southern approach. Iraq's special forces joined federal police and rapid response units in the push-pursuit of a major assault that started earlier this week to drive IS from the western half of Iraq's second-largest city. By afternoon, they had entered the Ghazlani military base south of the city as well as the airport, reports the Associated Press. The 8th anniversary of the atrocious carnage at Pilkhana BDR headquarters in the capital will be observed lately. A total of 74 people, including 57 army officers, were killed in the carnage beginning on this day in 2009. To mark the day, special prayers will be offered at the Mosque of Border Guard Bangladesh Pilkhana headquarters after Fajr prayers, seeking divine blessings for the departed souls. Besides, floral wreaths will be placed at the graves of the army officers who were killed during the BDR outrage at Banani graveyard at 9 a.m. on behalf of President Abdul Hamid and Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Later, the Home Minister, the chiefs of the three services, the Home Secretary and the BGB DG will pay their tributes to the slain army officers. The government has taken a plan for setting up a power village in Khulna power station area at Khalishpur, aiming to supply more electricity to the people of southern part of the country. As part of the Benga plan, the process for the construction of 335 megawatt dual-fuel combined cycle power plant has begun as the project was approved at the meeting of the Executive Committee of the National Economic Council on December 22. The construction work of the power plant, mostly financed by China, will be completed by 2019 at a cost of Taka 3,253 crore. Two other power plants will be constructed at the same site under the plan. Rezaul Karim, director of Khulna Power Station, said the power village will be set up on the 50 acres of land of KPS. 3 power plants will be set up in the project area in phases. United Nations human rights experts have called on Bangladesh to act now to halt an increasing number of enforced disappearances in the country. The UN Working Group on Enforced or Involuntary Disappearances says the number of cases has risen from a few isolated cases a few years ago to more than 40 now, and that the number is continuing to grow. Independent reports blame the Rapid Action Battalion of the Bangladesh Police for several disappearances and extrajudicial executions, notably of political opponents of the government. Enforced disappearance is a heinous crime and an offense to human dignity, and no circumstances whatsoever may be invoked to justify it, the working group said amid reports that abductions are being frequently used by law enforcement and security agencies. The High Court deferred until April 2nd the hearing on the death reference and 152 convicts' appeals against death penalty in the Pilkhana BDR immunity case. A 3-member High Court bench of Justice Muhammad Shaukat Hossain, Justice Abu Zafar Siddiqui and Justice Mustafa Zaman Islam set the date following a time petition filed by the prosecution. The court had earlier asked for preparing the remaining paper books to start hearing on the death reference, as some 35 paper books out of the 151 have been prepared for the 151 death row convicts. A Dhaka court on November 5, 2013 sentenced 150 soldiers of the erstwhile Bangladesh Rifles and 2 civilians to death and 161 others to life imprisonment for their involvement in the BDR mutiny. A total of 257 appeals were filed with the High Court against the lower court verdict. Bangladesh and India discussed further cooperation in a number of areas, including security, border management, trade, and energy between the two countries. Both sides also took stock of the decisions taken in recent meetings of various bilateral mechanisms in their areas, including commerce, shipping and railways. The issues came up for discussion during a meeting between visiting Indian Foreign Secretary Dr. S. Jaishankar and his Bangladesh counterpart Mohammad Shahidul Haq in the city recently, reports news agency UNB. Viewers, now Millennium Business News. America's private prisons may be entering a golden age. Their shares have doubled since Election Day. Core Civic, formerly known as Corrections Corporation, is up 140% since Trump won in November. Geo Group stock has risen 98%. Trump has been ever better for private prison stocks than he has for big banks like Goldman Sachs. The reason private prisons are back in vogue is simple. Trump has made sweeping promises to crack down on crime and illegal immigration. Wall Street calculated quickly that Trump's rhetoric is likely to translate into more people behind bars, and that means more profits for private prisons. Airline group IAG, which owns British Airways and Iberia, has reported a rise in profits despite being affected by last year's fall in the pound. Pre-tax profits at the company rose by nearly a third last year to 2.4 billion euros, with operating profits up 8.6% to 2.5 billion euros. IAG said the fall in the value of the pound last year cost it 460 million euros. Woody Walsh, IAG's chief executive, said it was a good performance in a challenging environment. He added that IAG had continued to make good progress. In 2016, we carried more than 100 million passengers, double the number British Airways and Iberia carried in 2010, a year before IAG was created, he said. Germany's budget surplus hit a post-reunification high of nearly 24 billion euros in 2016, boosted by a higher tax take and increased employment. This is the third year running that German government revenue has outstripped expenditure. However, there was an increase in spending on housing and integrating refugees. Under budget laws, some of the surplus money will go into a fund to support the refugees. Separately, official figures confirmed the economy grew by 1.9% last year, mainly because of higher spending by consumers and government. China's state-run Zhenhua Oil has signed a preliminary deal with Chevron to buy the U.S. oil major's natural gas fields in Bangladesh that are about $2 billion to Beijing-based Chinese oil executives said. Zhenhua is a subsidiary of China's defense industry conglomerate Norinco. A completed deal would mark China's first major energy investment in the South Asian country, where Beijing is competing with New Delhi and Tokyo for influence. Bangladesh, though, holds the right of the first refusal on the assets and could block the transaction. The country, via its national oil company Petrobangla, is keen to buy the gas fields and is talking to international banks to raise financing, according to a banking source familiar with the process. Stocks finished the week maintaining upward trend with rising participation of investors. The trade value at Dhaka Stock Exchange increased to Taka 1,333.15 crore from the last week Taka 1,062.76 crore, up by Taka 279.54 crore or 26.53%. The broader DSEX of DSE finished the day 0.51 points or 0.0090% down at 5,625.33 from the previous day's 5,625. Of the two selective indices, DS30 finished the session 7.74 points or 0.13% up to close 2,036.20 points, while DSES dropped by 3.66 points or 0.28% to close at 1,309.48 points. Out of the 328 traded securities, 126 closed higher against 164, losing issues when 38 remained unchanged. The day's major gainers where IPDC, GSP Finance, Hashtags, Union Capital, Global Insurance, Asia Pacific Insurance, and Lanka Bangla Finance. Viewers, now Millennium Environment, Science and Technology News. The simple up and down motion of hand pumps could help scientists secure a key water source for 200 million people in Africa. Growing demand for groundwater is putting pressure on the resource while researchers struggle to accurately estimate the future supply. But a team from Oxford University says the low-cost mobile sensors attached to pumps could solve the problem. The study shows that pump vibrations record the true depth of well water. While fresh water from Africa's rivers and lakes is hugely important for people, it is dwarfed by the amount of groundwater available, estimated to be 100 times greater than the annual renewable fresh resource. Doctors from a children's hospital have helped save the life of a premature baby hippo at Cincinnati Zoo. The ailing baby named Fiona had become dehydrated after refusing milk and required an urgent intravenous drip. Fiona was born 6 weeks early to 17-year-old hippo Bibi on 24 January. At birth, she weighed 13 kg, which the zoo says is about half the previous lowest recorded birth weight for her species. The normal range is 25-54 kg, and at almost a month old, she does not yet weigh 25 kg. Zoo staff who have been blogging about little hippo's progress said last week that she was teething. Private messages exchanged on dating sites, hotel bookings, and frames about adult videos were among the data inadvertently exposed by a bug discovered in the Cloudflare network. The firm protects websites by routing their traffic through its own network, filtering out hack attacks. It has 4 million clients, including banks, governments, and shopping sites. Customers wouldn't necessarily know which of the online services they use run on Cloudflare, as it is not available. The bug came to light while Cloudflare was migrating from older to newer software between 13 and 18 February. An annular eclipse of sun will occur on February 26, said an ISPR press release on Thursday. It will start at 18 hours 10 minutes 54 seconds and will end at 23 hours minutes 36 seconds, reports BSS. The central eclipse will start at 19 hours 16 minutes 48 seconds and will end at 22 hours 30 minutes 54 seconds. The greatest eclipse will occur at 20 hours 53 minutes 24 seconds, the release said. Researchers announced that the stunning discovery of 7 Earth-like planets orbiting a small star in our galaxy, opening up the most promising hunting ground so far for life beyond the solar system. All 7 roughly match the size and mass of our own planet and are almost certainly rocky, and 3 are perfectly perched to harbor life, nurturing oceans of water, they reported in the journal Nature. Most critically, their proximity to Earth and the dimness of their red dwarf star, called TRAPPIST-1, will allow astronomers to parse each one's atmosphere in search of chemical signatures of biological activity. Viewers, now Millennium Sports News. Steve O'Keefe has produced the spell of a lifetime to spark an incredible collapse as Australia took a massive stranglehold on day 2 of the first test in Pune. O'Keefe stepped into the spotlight in sensational fashion, taking 6-5 in an extraordinary spell shortly after lunch to finish with figures of 6-35. Okafe was rewarded with a maiden 5-wicket haul, finishing with 635 as India were rolled for an astonishing 105, giving Australia a first innings lead of 155. India lost a stunning 7-11 in the space of 8 overs. Okafe removed the top scoring Rahul for 64, caught brilliantly by David Warner in the outfield before dismissing the dangerous Ajinkya Rahane for 13 and wicketkeeper Riddhiman Shah for a duck, with all 3 wickets coming in the 1 over. Nathan Lyon then removed Ravi Ashwin in bizarre circumstances as the batsman hit the ball onto his foot, allowing Peter Handscomb to take a stunning catch at bat pad. Australia's skipper Steve Smith has won the toss and elected to bat in the series opening test against top-ranked India. Virat Kohli's India squad is a hot favourite in the 4-match series. India hasn't lost a test on home soil since 2012, with a record of 17 wins and 3 draws, and is on a 19-test unbeaten streak overall. The Australians have lost 9 straight tests in Asia and were swept 4-0 on their last tour to India in 2013. The pitch at the Maharashtra Cricket Association Stadium, which is hosting its first test match, had a dusty, dry look and was the center of attention in the build-up to this game. It is expected to take significant turn early into the game, perhaps as early as day 1. Teka Mohammedan Sporting Club Limited made the early exit from the 2nd edition of the Sheikh Kamal International Club Cup despite securing 2-1 goals victory against Shaheen Asmai FC of Afghanistan in their last Group B match at M.A. Aziz Stadium. Mohammad finished with Manang Marshandi of Nepal in the 4-team group campaign, collecting identical 4 points each. But as per the bylaws, the winner of the head-to-head fight advanced to the semis, and Manang obtained the fruit as they beat Mohammedan by 2-0 goals in the first match. In the day's match, Mohammedan SC's Gambian forward Dauda Cisse scored both goals for the side in the 32nd and 69th minutes, while Shaheen Asmai's forward Amiruddin Sharifi reduced the gap in the 88th minute, converting a sport kick. If basketball and soccer had a baby and put it on skates, it might look like rollerball, a little-known sport whose top performers worldwide vied for the championship in Bangladesh over the past week. Played on a basketball court with a small soccer-type goal in lieu of a basket, rollerball requires players on roller skates to dribble and pass a basketball-sized ball as they try to score. Some 750 competitors from 40 countries, including hosts Bangladesh, participated in the meet at 3 venues in Dhaka, the capital. Most were from Asia or Africa, but Europe, South America, and the South Pacific island nation of Fiji were also represented. All participating nations sent men's teams and 27 sent women. Before ending, the headlines are once again. Trump takes campaign-style CPAC victory lap. Trump wants to make sure U.S. nuclear arsenal at top of the pack. IS car bombing kills 35 people in Syria. 8th anniversary of BDR carnage. UN experts urge Bangladesh to stop enforced disappearances. And OKF stars as Australia push India on back foot. This is all for now from Millennium Daily Newsroom. To get any kind of news, please visit to our social website facebook.com/millenniumtvusa and youtube.com/millenniumtvusa. Besides, to get the most updated news, please log into our website www.millenniumtv.net. Stay with Millennium. Allah Hafiz.